a North Lake Tahoe resident, CEO of the nonprofit Tahoe Spark, and a supervisor within the California Energy Commission's Efficiency Division. And it's not like you don't exist. You literally don't exist to these companies. You are not even numbers on a page anymore, because now the numbers that they actually care about are whatever the AI data center numbers that they find are. This article also goes into how messy this kind of thing is and why it's an extremely tricky problem to solve, especially considering that their grid sits inside of NV Energy's balancing authority, and they rely on their transmission lines, which they are no longer going to be having access to for these 50,000 residents that are being abandoned here. So the whole thing is extremely difficult to try and navigate, so even finding another power supplier isn't exactly easy and would also cost tons and tons of money. Building a direct connection to California's grid would require a new transmission line west over the Sierra, a project Liberty President Eric Schwartzrock said would cost hundreds of millions of dollars with significant land impacts, and also would lead to higher costs to these residents that have been abandoned. It's going to be passed down to them. So, no matter what happens next, them being completely, thrown to the dirt by NV Energy in favor of them supplying the power to data centers, no matter what happens next, if they do get an alternate power source player to come in to help them, it will most likely lead to a significant increase in their cost. Their bills are going to go up. So let's roll. No matter what happens. I recommend you read the entire article from Fortune if you're at all interested in the nuance and the inner workings of how this garbage is unfolding. There's like a back and forth here where NV Energy's like, oh, they knew this was coming and it's their fault for not being able to secure a new independent power supplier kind of thing. It's been going on for a while. We've always said it's temporary. We've just extended our agreements for a while and they're dragging their feet on replacing us, that kind of thing. There's really a lot to unpack here, and there is no regulatory oversight that can come in and fix this, even though there are arguments being made that there should be something out there, like protesting how this is even allowed to happen, how the power provider can just be like, actually, I'm just fucking AI. There's 50,000 residents that rely on our power to live there. But fuck, who are they? I already forgot about them. Like, there's been a lot of arguments, there's a lot to it, so the article goes pretty in-depth on it. As for what's next in the region, Liberty told customers that NV Energy will remain the transmission provider. The wires aren't going anywhere, so that's nice. They didn't just dig up the wires and throw them in a fucking landfill or something. So the question is, who's going to supply the electricity that flows over them, and what that cost will be, and whether the regulators will protect customers whose upstream grid sits outside California's usual planning structure, and they are right now dropping the big replacement contract to anyone and everyone. They are really trying to find this next energy provider. There was a tad bit of optimism when it came to a short-term solution, but long-term is a lot more unstable and unknowable. And they closed with this statement saying, we have no representation, it's resource extraction. It is 1,000% resource extraction, and representation has proven in other regions across the country to not matter at all when it comes to these data centers. Let's take a look at Utah. The Kevin O'Leary clown show, his fucking circus, who, by the way, likes to continue LARPing as an American. He's not. He is a bald Canadian bitch ass. And yet he still comes over and tries to preach about American values and why the data center is like the most patriotic thing you can do. Cringe, pathetic, worm demon. Anyway, in Utah, all of the people were voicing how much they didn't want it, the disdain. They would not support it. Please don't. Begging, groveling, do not let this data center project be approved. A 40,000-acre data center, the largest imaginable. Like genuinely, I cannot even fathom something that big. A 40,000-acre data center is fucking diabolical. And geriatric fossils that were approving this project, who are supposed to be representing the people in the community, outright said, one of them verbatim said, for hell's sake, grow up. A crazy statement, and I do believe they are fighting for hell. They are demons on the side of Satan. So like these fucking octogenarians, in the face of all the community that went out there, and there was a huge number of people yelling, screaming, begging, stop, don't do it, no data center. In front of all of them, they insulted the people, berated them, and then went into their own private room to get away from all the riffraff, all the hustle and bustle and hoopla, so that way they could unanimously push it through to greenlight the 40,000 acre data center. That goes in the face of all of the people that they are supposed to be representing the interests of. So it's pretty clear that even having representation of like the will of the people does not matter. These data centers are being built and brute forced through because most likely all of these politicians and the people in power in these communities get a nice little chunk of change for it, some real strong incentives, but they don't care about the people. And there's no consequences. There are literally no consequences anymore across the board. You can lie, you can scam, you can fraud, all of this, and there is nothing that happens. Nothing at all. So they feel very emboldened to just blatantly, openly be corrupt. And that's what's happening. So these data centers, they are not. They're showing no signs of slowing down. It's extremely concerning. It's extremely infuriating. And BlackRock is already planning for people to feel like forced into a corner and doing something drastic, like maybe trying to destroy a data center.
And the need for rebuilding the GCC region to rebuild it so that it could be in a position where it's not going to be obstructed by drone warfare. So many more things are going to have to be underground. But even here in the United States, if we're going to be building, let's say, these 1 gigawatt data centers, how do we make sure we're not protecting those $50 billion, $75 billion investments? We have to look at everything because of the role of drone warfare. Right now we're looking at it internationally, but one of my concerns is could it be a domestic terrorism using a $3,000 drone?
These slimy husks, these zombies are getting so comfortable calling anyone that goes against the corporations selling out of this country and their land terrorists. Oh, you don't support the companies coming in here with 3,100 data centers springing up in your communities, driving up your energy bills, ruining your water, polluting your community? Oh, that must make you a domestic terrorist, Buster. Or at the very least, you might have some ideas that are adjacent to domestic terrorism. A little bit of thought.
Man Robot LSM Plus out for a rip out of beach in West LA. This thing is absolutely outrageous, and it's not even on a full